Amigos de Te lo cuento News, welcome everybody. Hoy estamos bilingües, today we are bilingual. Estamos viendo lo que es la reunión en el Consejo Municipal de Leavenworth, Kansas, donde se va a tomar la decisión sobre si se abre este centro de detención en la ciudad. Here is where they will decide is they will be open this detention center for migrants in Leavenworth, Kansas. And right now they have the public comment. Está pasando el momento donde habla el público. Es un día muy importante para las comunidades migrantes porque pues esto podría poner 1,100 camas en la zona. Vamos a estar transmitiendo en directo. We will be show live video of what is going on there, what is happening, so everybody can see the situation and listen. Pero por supuesto, primero quienes hacen posible este espacio, nuestros anunciantes.
Este espacio es gracias a
La Mesa, sabor bien nuestro.
CM Give Empathy,
The Hine Law Firm.
Huertas Cleaning Service,
US Bank. Descubre el corazón de América Latina en cada plato de la mesa, con sabores auténticos y reconfortantes, platillos que te harán sentir en casa, con la auténtica sazón latina que destaca nuestra diversa cultura. Sabores de nuestras tierras en cada bocado. Ven a la mesa y deleítate con nuestro sabor único. Reserva tu mesa ahora y prepárate para una aventura culinaria inolvidable. La Mesa, sabor bien nuestro.
And my wife and I both work for CoreCivic, and this job has truly changed our lives. I lived in the Kansas City area for 20 years, and before joining CoreCivic, my family really struggled. We were on state assistance, trying our best, but barely staying ahead. This job allowed us to finally step off that assistance and stand on our own 2 feet. For the first time, we feel stable. We feel secure. In this past Christmas, my wife and I were able to give our kids the best Christmas they ever had. That may sound small, but to us, it meant everything. And it was proof that hard work, opportunity, and a good employer can change a family's direction. Working at CoreCivic has done more than help us financially. It has given me confidence and a sense of purpose. The people I work alongside are caring, professional, and committed to do things the right way. The leadership is strong, supportive, and focused on growth and development. I see real opportunity for my future here, and that's something I've never felt in a job before. Corrections work runs in my family. I'm following in the footsteps of those who served in this profession before me. It's something I take pride in, and for the first time, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. My family wants to move to Leavenworth. We want to live closer to where we work, contribute to the community, and build our lives here. But we can only do this if this special use permit is approved and the facility is allowed to continue operating. CoreCivic has given my family stability, dignity, and hope, something we do not take for granted. I ask you tonight to please approve this special use permit so that my coworkers and I can continue the work we are committed to, and so families like mine can continue to move forward. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Next slide.
Number 16.
Mike Sendejas, Leavenworth, Kansas. City leaders, thank you for this opportunity to speak today. I'm here to express my support for the opening of CoreCivic's Midwest Regional Reception Center. I have been employed with CoreCivic for nearly 7 months and have recently returned from my 4th temporary duty assignment, most recently at a facility in California. During this time, I have had many opportunities to care for detainees and show empathy to those who reside in our facilities. Treating individuals fairly and with respect is a principle emphasized in CoreCivic's policies. And working in this role allows me to help ensure those standards are upheld. I recognize there are a lot of emotions involved with this complex issue. However, regardless of differing viewpoints, we can still choose to treat one another with kindness and compassion, from our coworkers to the detainees in our care and to our neighbors here in Leavenworth. If this facility opens, I will continue to have the opportunity to serve in that way. In my time working with CoreCivic employees, I have had many compassionate and thoughtful individuals who generally want to do the right thing and treat others with dignity. Being part of this team allows me to set a positive example from within. While no system is perfect, when challenges arise, I can communicate concerns to my supervisors and to offer recommendations to help improve the process. It is not my role to judge those in my care, but it is my responsibility to perform my duties to the best of my ability and in accordance with CoreCivic policy. By doing so, we can help minimize potential issues and maintain a professional and respectful environment. Working for CoreCivic has been a blessing for my family. My goal is simple: to provide for my loved ones, perform my job with integrity, care for the detainees entrusted to us, and continue as a productive member of Leavenworth. In closing, I believe we can all choose to show kindness and respect to one another, even when we disagree. When we work together with that mindset, we can accomplish far more as a community. I say all these things with sincerity and from my heart. People who know me know my character, and I treat everybody with love and respect. Thank you again for this opportunity to speak this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Number 17.
Where do I drop this?
Just leave it up there.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, City Council. No, this is not an easy night to have, but thanks for having me. My name is Benjamin Lowe. I live at 669 Prospect Street, Leavenworth, Kansas. I come tonight to urge you, as many have done and many will, vote no to letting CoreCivic open. You have a special use permit. Primary reason, beyond what I've discussed the previous 2 times I have been here, CoreCivic are known liars. Let's go over some evidence that even happened here. First off, the competitive pay. When it is known that CoreCivic underpays, and they have yet to say what the pay will be for staff, especially in the high risk positions like ours. They claim sufficient training, with some vague allusions too. One thing I wonder about foreign language, especially given that this is an ICE facility. There will be people who have a very poor grasp of the English language and primarily either speak as Spanish, French, maybe even a bit of German. Who knows? Depends on who they pick up, or ICE picks up and drops off with them. A conflation of laws, which I don't know whether to blame on their legal counsel's incompetence, or again, if they were lying. For 1325, the last meaning that they refer to, that refers to illegal entry. That is a countrywide version of what an old man screaming at kids to get off his lawn would charge, aka trespassing. And with the known record in this town of overburdening our sewer system, of putting pressure on our medical system, where we only have 1 hospital left, by the way, right? Do you believe that people who just trespassed deserve that? And also, with previous staff, they have said that they are sorry for all incidents that happened. I have yet to hear any measures they have taken to make right with the victims of those incidents. That's beyond what they were forced to in a court case, which, mind you, if this permit will be granted and any enforcement action taken that cuts into their profits, because keep in mind, CoreCivic is a publicly traded company, profits are king, they will litigate if they view it as the cheaper option than to comply with the measures that this council has set out to impose to hopefully curb the worst. They are a bad partner. They are known liars, and I do hope you vote no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 18.
David Benitez, 1717 Evergreen Street. These are my opinions. At all three of these hearings, the people of Leavenworth have made their will clear. We don't want this. And at all three hearings, there has been a small army of business suits whose job it is to be the friendly face on a company with a bad track record. And their job is to convince you that it will all be fine. You can form committees, you can set regulations, you can write little laws that will restrict the standards that they have to adhere to regarding safety and sanitation. But CoreCivic's been here before. Did they adhere to good standards last time? And what about the organization that they're really doing this for? I mean, let's be honest, it's clear that it's going to be a nice detention facility, right? Is that organization keen on following the law, on making sure that those they capture are held in safety and well-being? No, they are not. We, the people of Leavenworth, are not fooled. And we don't care about their money. We don't. Because we understand that every scrap of wealth they harvest is milked directly from human suffering. That is 40 pieces of silver we do not want. So, please, you are our representatives in this. We are crying out to you. I implore you, be our voice and stand up for the will of the people of Leavenworth. Tell CoreCivic no. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Quiet, please.
Number 19.
Good evening, Faith Lopez, 1646 Tennessee Street, Lawrence, Kansas. My name is Faith Lopez, and I was originally born in Leavenworth and now reside in Lawrence. I want to first thank the city commissioners for being here, being present, and fulfilling your job duties by listening to your concerned constituents. And to the concerned community in the room and online, thank you for being here and for voicing your opinion. We know that Leavenworth is not powered by for-profit prisons, but rather the people that live here. When I went to KU to go study, my hometown would often come up in icebreakers. And when Leavenworth was mentioned, prisons would be heavily associated with the name. When I look at Leavenworth, I know that it is much more than that. It is a hometown where I grew up, where my sisters and I found out who we are, where my friends are, where my community is. My faith in the city, no pun intended, because my name is Faith, has been shown in support of the leaders in this community. In 2020, I worked for Jeff Pittman's campaign for state senate. One of the fundamental goals of his campaign was to uplift the voices of the community and of the city. However, we know that the voices are not being centered right now. There is an outcry. People are here and people are showing up in waves. Holly, when you announced your candidacy for mayor and for city commission, I was enlightened knowing that these same values would be followed through. However,
Please don't address the commissioners separately.
voting yes for CoreCivic would be a disappointment to the people of Leavenworth and the people that have fought so hard to make sure that we have a strong city, people first. If you are voting yes on this permit in hopes of maintaining oversight of CoreCivic and their operations, DHS has sold you a lie and you have fallen for it. A vote yes to comply with a company with a well-documented and long-standing history of human rights violations shows that you are not siding with the people of Leavenworth. This signals to the city of Leavenworth continues commitment to corporate cooperation's interest that puts profit over human dignity. As we know, Leavenworth is the first established city in Kansas. We are pioneers. We are first in everything that we do. And we need to be the first to stand up to CoreCivic and say no. So I urge the city commissioners to set the precedent, stand with the people of Leavenworth and beyond, and voting no for the special use permit for the ICE detention center. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Number 20.
My name is Brian Davis. I live here at 2017 High Street. Just going to jump in here. I took a picture during the protest a couple weeks ago of the ladies in red with their signs, one saying, "Who would Jesus persecute?" And the shame, shame, shame. Thank you guys for that, because you inspired me to write this. Later, I was looking at the picture, and I see the Statue of Liberty lit up behind them. It made me think, yeah, what a shame. What a shame that the ones voting for this slave-centered to reopen don't represent what she stood for. The American ideals of liberty and equality to serve as a beacon of hope and welcoming figure for immigrants worldwide. The broken shackles and chains at her feet symbolize the end of slavery, oppression, and bondage given to us, all because of the man that is fading away in the back of my picture. We have all walked the same land and scientifically proven to breathe the same air as Abraham Lincoln, who said the residents of Kansas he commended for their perseverance in creating a free state despite fire and bloodshed. It all did start here. You might as well take both of them down, because you sure don't represent the same ideology if you vote yes. You guys can call it what you want, but in my opinion, privatized prisons are nothing but slave camps. They claim it's so easy to get into this country, but it's so hard to send these good human beings back that they had to add 100+ facilities, 91% increase, by the way, in 1 year. The people who agree with this reopening represent the ugly stripper, in my opinion, and the club owners, CoreCivic, are flipping bloody nickels to you while they stuff their pockets with $100 bills that they are snatching out of taxpayers' already drying up wallets. I want to say, if you're supporting this and you show up at your Friday mandatory mosque meetings, your Saturday mass, or your Sunday in the pews, you are playing a game of pretending to live by the golden rule. If you don't know what that is, it means treat others as you want to be treated, and pretending to have compassion and love in your soul when it's clearly just an empty black hole. One more thing before I go. At the age of 51, I realize that you are the one that has to sleep with your decisions in life. Thank you, good night, and sleep well. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Pardon?
21.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Michael Sharma Crawford. I'm a practicing immigration lawyer from Kansas City. My purpose here today, in the short amount of time that I have, is to set aside some of the things, or clear up some of the things, that Mr. Byers addressed you or told you when he was speaking to you last time. I reviewed his testimony, and there's some pieces that we need to clear up. Mr. Byers began with the statement, everyone has due process in this system. Everybody they pick up has a due process in this system. Due process has to be meaningful. 50 to 60 days. If you've lived in a community for 15 years with your wife and your children, and you're going to go before an immigration judge on an application that requires you to prove that you've lived here for 10 years, that your children are going to suffer, the standard is exceptional and extremely unusual hardship, and that you're a person of, and the quote is, good moral character. It's hard to do, to gather that evidence when you've got 50 to 60 days sitting in a jail cell. Mr. Byers complained that these cases are taking 10 years, but they're taking 10 years because the immigration court in Kansas City, which covers both Missouri and Kansas, has 50,000 pending cases. They have 3 judges. So they are swamped, and any case that isn't detained is being set out because they're overloaded with detained cases. Why are they overloaded with detained cases? Mr. Byers would have you believe that it's because whatever figure he gave you, 19 million people were allowed into the United States. Many of those people were allowed in status and had work authorization to remain in the United States and pursue other things. That status was revoked from them, putting them in removal proceedings, ramping up the numbers in jail. The government has moved forward to change a 30-year definition of who can be detained without bond. So the person that's been here for 20 years is now on the same footing as someone who appears at the border tomorrow. And those people are both being denied bond. So they're running out of space because they're changing the rules to detain more people. That's why CoreCivic needs to remain here. That's why they want that bed space. They said that they're going to give people tablets so they can talk to their pro bono lawyers. There aren't any pro bono lawyers. I know this because my partner and I ran the only pro bono clinic for 13 years in the Kansas City area that would have covered this area. So there aren't any pro bono lawyers. I have a whole list, and I apologize, I've run out of time and other people need to speak. But there was a number of things that were told, I don't want to call them half-truths, but you're not getting the whole picture. And I'm sorry, but thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Number 22.
Good evening. My name is Abigail Haynes. I live at 4415 Wyoming Street, Kansas City, Missouri. I was born and raised in Kansas City. I'm a nurse now at a local hospital, and I am urging you to vote no on the CoreCivic special use permit. I won't use all my time so that more people's voices can be heard, but I don't want to live close to a facility that's for profit, that's working for ICE, which we've all seen evidence of armed masked ICE agents, often unmarked cars, snatching and murdering people with no due process, which, as the gentleman before me went into more detail about. So I hope that you will vote no against the special use permit. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can I leave more comments?
Sure.
Number 23.
I'm Christy Peterson, 15980 94th Street, Oskaloosa, Kansas, 66066. At first glance, tonight's vote seems like a local now decision. It is not. The world and history are watching. Please, please think hard on what side of history you want to be on. Don't let the bullies of CoreCivic win. Please say no.
Thank you.
Number 24.
Hello, my name is Bennett Dibben. I live at 1513 Northeast Tawny Drive in Lee Summit, Missouri. And I traveled here to plead with you guys to vote no on CoreCivic and listen to your neighbors here in Leavenworth as to why CoreCivic should not be here and reopen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Number 25.
My name is Michelle Bridges, and I live in Leavenworth, Kansas. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. I currently work at Midwest Regional Reception Center. I've been there for 8 months. It is an all-inclusive community. Most importantly, it's a family for all of us. I spent the majority of my life in the Leavenworth community. My family moved to Lansing in 1984 after living in the Kansas City area. My father and his parents before him were born in Kansas City, Missouri. Myself and 2 of my siblings were born in the same hospital my father was born. I have a deep history in this area. I raised my children here, my grandchildren were raised here, and now my son and his wife are raising their 1-month-old baby here in Lansing. 5 generations of my family have called this place home. Because of that, the safety of this community isn't an afterthought to me, it's personal. It's about my family, my neighbors, and the people I've grown up with my entire life. I'm confident that MRRC will be operated with safety at the center of everything. Safety for the community, for the employees, and for the individuals in our care every hour of every day. When I applied to CoreCivic, it was because this community needs jobs that offer a real livable wage, jobs that let people support their families without working 2 jobs or driving miles out of town just to make ends meet. People deserve the chance to come home in time for dinner, to attend their children's school events, to rest and to breathe. That is what a decent paying job gives a family, the gift of time, stability, and peace of mind. Opening this facility brings more than employment, it brings opportunity. It opens doors to jobs for people who may have felt those doors were closed to them. Because it is easier to find a way to work when your job is in the town you live in. It helps strengthen families, reduce financial strain, and lift our community up. It also gives us a chance to give back, to support local programs, help those in need, and become a positive force in the place we all call home. This partnership between MRRC and the City of Leavenworth will allow me to enjoy my life, continue to plan for my retirement, and allow me to continue contributing to my family. I know it will do the same for many others who are simply looking for a stable path forward. Thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting a future filled with opportunity, safety, and growth for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Number 26.
Hello, my name is Victor James Blar, and I live at 1175 Penton Street, Leavenworth, Kansas. And I do not come here to ask politely. I believe that you should say no to CoreCivic. It will bring harm to our community, and it will bring no benefits. That is all.
Thank you, sir.
Number 27.
Hello, my name is Misha Voigt. I've lived in Leavenworth for over 5 years, but now I currently stay at Kansas City Community College dorms. My friend Jordan Brown was supposed to be speaker 59 today, but I just watched him get arrested. So on his behalf and my own, please vote no for CoreCivic. Thank you.
Number 28.
Rick Nichols, 826 South Esplanade, and I simply tell you, like the pastor's sign said yesterday, love your neighbor, don't lock up your neighbor. I've got my ice whistle here, but I'm not going to blow it because I don't want to get arrested like that guy next door that just got arrested, like she just mentioned. So anyway, if you approve this, you're probably going to hear the whistle a lot in Leavenworth.
Number 29.
Good evening, Karen Cohen, 3633 Central. Not one of your constituents, Republican, Democrat, or Independent, has come to speak in favor of this, except for those being paid by CoreCivic. Please do not allow Leavenworth to become Auschwitz. Please vote against this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Number 30.
Good evening. My name is Alida Crest, and I recently moved to 407 Evergreen Street, Leavenworth, Kansas. When I first announced my move, it seemed to put a foul taste in people's mouths. They heard Leavenworth and immediately thought of hardened criminals and razor wire. They thought of the media's corrupt wardens and sadistic guards. What I found here, however, were nurses, teachers, administrators, upstanding citizens trying to make a difference in the lives of those who are so often put out of sight and out of mind for the general public. Where our current prisons make community, CoreCivic makes profit. Leavenworth has welcomed them before and been betrayed by them before. When they operated here, they cut costs, they lied, they understaffed, they neglected their inmates. They created an environment that fostered violence. The deceit and malpractice spread through the facility like a deadly fungal mycelium, colonizing the very fabric of their practice with drug and weapons trafficking, fruiting suicides, death by medical neglect, stabbings, and more. They were quelled for a while, but like most fungi, without full eradication, they returned. This time they've entered into a contract with a government agency we know practices violence like religion. An ICE facility brings ICE activity into our community, a community shaped by immigrants. Far too many times we've seen ICE violently arrest people they simply suspect could be undocumented just to meet arrest quotas. Far too many times we have seen them using racial profiling to pinpoint their targets for arrest. Records from our 2020 to 2024 five-year census indicate that there are 11,267 Leavenworth community members who are Black, Latino, Asian, Indigenous, etc. At the lowest level, this is a zoning issue. At the highest, it is an issue of actively putting the lives of our community members in danger. When I first moved here, I found that Leavenworth tasted of japchae, jerk chicken, and tamales. If you grant CoreCivic this permit, I imagine the city will start to taste like money, like blood, and everyone who wrinkled their nose at my move will have been right. Thank you. Please vote no.
Thank you.
Number 31.
Hello, I'm Duncan Klima. I also live at 407 Evergreen Street.
Okay.
I have a list of things that I was going to say, but a lot of them have already been mentioned. So I'm just going to say something that I don't think people have been talking about. ICE itself, as we know, is not a long-term organization. It was founded in 2003. That was the same year I was born. and I'm not that old. And I think that this move of partnering up with CoreCivic and ICE is just extremely short-sighted. If we look at the political landscape, it's an ever-swinging pendulum. We see where we are now, and myself and many others think that it is going to be swinging back. And with this, I would like to say that, like, if the Trump administration loses the 2026 midterms, you can see ICE being scaled back dramatically. This is important because that directly impacts CoreCivic and directly impacts this detention center. And especially if in 2028, Democrat wins or something like that, with the recent movement against ICE, it's an extremely unpopular group, an easy group for someone to target. So I just really think ICE could be scaled back dramatically in the next like 2 to 4 years. And so, yeah, this directly impacts the CoreCivic contract and all of that stuff. I'm not envious of your position that you guys are in right now. I know it's very hard. You're kind of in between a rock and a hard place. But I just want you to know that you can make the right decision, and there's a bunch of people here that are here to support you. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Number 32.
See the number thing. Deanna Webster, Leavenworth, Kansas. Thank you for letting us speak today. We greatly appreciate it. Lost my spot. If you look around this room, you see many people who have worked long shifts today. They don't come here for a hobby. They're here because they cannot trust CoreCivic with our city's safety or reputation. I am here to object to CoreCivic being a detention center at all. But since they're holding our city hostage with threats of a lawsuit, I'm going another route. We are told that the proposed special use permit has strict conditions. But let us be honest, these conditions are not a shield. They are a price tag. An initial $1.5 million and a $400,000 annual fee is just a cost of doing business for CoreCivic. They, a business that is projecting $50 million in revenue from this one site. To them, it isn't a penalty. It's a line item. These terms are not strict enough. First, a city commission oversight board with no power of enforcement is just a group of tourists. Without unannounced 24/7 access to city inspectors, CoreCivic will continue to do what they have always done: block our police and hide their failures until the damage is already done to our people, our sewers, and our hospitals. Second, the golden factors you must consider today weigh heavily toward a no vote. The character of our neighborhood is defined by families and homeowners who live here, not a facility that has historically functioned as, in the city's own words, an absolute hellhole. The public health and safety risk is not theoretical. We have the receipts from stabbings, the riots, and literal sewage in our streets. This is an unreasonable burden to place on any community. If you are going to grant this permit against the overwhelming will of these people, then you must demand a self-executing revocation clause. If a third-party auditor finds a safety violation, the permit must suspend immediately. No 30-day grace periods and no more agreements that rely on CoreCivic's good faith, as they have no good faith in Leavenworth. We have shown up and we are telling you, protect our citizens, not this corporation's bottom line. We expect you to vote no tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
33 chose not to speak, so we're on to 34.
I yield my time.
Okay,
35.
Hello, my name is Noah Baker. I reside at 4304 Garland Avenue, Leavenworth, Kansas. I've decided to speak today as a resident of this town for 14 years, a high school student, and a future voter, because the rights of the citizens of Leavenworth are in danger, and it has everything to do with CoreCivic. CoreCivic is known for their human rights violations, or at least accusations of these. Just to list a few: excessive use of force and violence, forced labor of detainees, medical neglect and substandard care, and systematic understaffing. But I know you all already know about these, because I've heard time and time again as citizens come up here, as residents come up here, and speak to you about these problems, about how much they're worried about these problems, and that they want these dangers kept away from Leavenworth. Giving CoreCivic the opportunity to open their facility in Leavenworth endangers us all. If they're allowed to violate human rights and break laws and get away with it and open a new facility, that is dangerous. Because who is stopping them from detaining and abusing people, if not you, here today? And these people, they won't stop at criminals or immigrants. It will be your constituents being violated. It will be mine and your friends and their families. And by the time that happens, your time to intervene will have passed. I want to remind you to keep the people around you in mind and the people you were elected to represent, their words and rights. When you vote today, please vote no for our future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Number 36.
Hello, my name is Victor Shaw. I live 185 Buckner Avenue, Fort Leavenworth. If we allow CoreCivic to open, CoreCivic will not stop the deportation of immigrants. It will soon go after other minorities, which will not only destroy the diversity and the strength that is the foundation of America, but also will destroy our own country and the people CoreCivic claims these institutions protect. Diversity is what makes America America, and endangering and killing human beings in centers like CoreCivic will never be a benefit to our city, country, or our rights to liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness. Letting immigrants be killed and abused in these centers is egregious, and the people participating have fault in this. Ask yourselves, will Leavenworth put a price on human life? Violating these people's civil rights is a threat to all civil rights. And keep ICE out of LV, because we all know that's what this is related to. So, good day.
Thank you.
37.
Good evening. My name is Darlie Casper. I live at 3918 Dixie Drive, and I'm a 2025 graduate of Leavenworth High School. CoreCivic has no place in Leavenworth, let alone Kansas. As a resident of Leavenworth of over 10 years who has participated in some more recent elections, this is something I and many others do not want our tax dollars going toward. In 2021, CoreCivic was shut down due to human rights violations against those that they had detained, as well as mistreatment towards their employees. In a town that's all about love, nothing feels loving about treating people like animals. They have families like you and I. Please vote no.
Thank you, ma'am.
Number 38.
My name is Christopher Benitez. I live at 1717 Evergreen Street here in Leavenworth, Kansas. I'm here to encourage this body to vote no to granting CoreCivic their special use permit. As you've plainly heard, the residents of Leavenworth will stand with you with that decision. We won't if you don't.
Thank you, sir.
Number 39.
Good evening. Thank you for letting us speak here tonight. My name is Lana Hayes. I live at 1401 East 24th Street in Lawrence, Kansas. And I just want to say that these human warehouses, and that's exactly what they are completely immoral and quite often downright cruel and inhumane. Other people have given specific examples and have said it much more eloquently than I can, but they definitely are. I'm not saying they all are, but they are all connected, and it's all part of ICE and DHS And these are all agencies among this administration that have known to be not held accountable and cover up everything that they do. So the conditions are often horrific. People are treated worse than animals with no due process or connections to their families or lawyers. Sometimes they are just disappeared. This administration takes no accountability, as I said, and covers up their crimes in these facilities and elsewhere daily. This is not what the United States of America is supposed to be about. Making money from putting human beings, our neighbors, our friends, in these warehouses for human souls is disgusting and immoral. Please choose morality over money and vote no.
Thank you.
Number 40.
Hello, my name is Christian Asen, and I live at 1218 Tennessee in Lawrence, Kansas. Please vote no. The people will have your back.
Thank you.
41.
Christina McKenna of Lawrence, 66046. Please vote no. We will stand with you.
Thank you.
42.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Sullivan. I live in Lawrence, Kansas. Please do the right thing. Vote no.
Thank you.
43.
I believe we're at 3 minutes, Madam Mayor.
3 minutes. Okay.
Corrine Ullum, Ottawa, Kansas, 66067. Like all of us had said before me, please vote no. We will stand with you when you make the right choice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
44.
Good evening. My name is David Zook, 1020 East 20th, Hutchinson, Kansas. Please vote no.
Thank you, sir.
45.
Hello, my name's Hunter Pace. That's P-A-C-E. I live at 8245 Northwest Berrybrook Court, 64151, which is in the Northland, actually. So I'm born and raised in the Northland, near the airport, not terribly far from here, but I'm sure you all are aware of the implications this has for the entire Midwest, if not, farther than that. And listening to the employees speak earlier, really just, it broke my heart to hear that we can't come up with another way for people to have stable jobs. That doesn't involve, literally sometimes kneeling on other people's necks. So I just wanted to point out that CoreCivic, even if they operate exactly as they, want to, next time you look at their logo, please consider they use the red and white bars of the American flag to represent jail bars, to represent like an enclosure. And as a citizen, as someone who was born here and raised here, it makes me really sick to see that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
46.
Hello, my name is Chuck Johnston, and I'm one more of your constituents who's here tonight. Just ask you to please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
47.
Hello, my name is Patricia Garcia. I drove here from Shawnee, Kansas to urge you guys to vote no. I don't think everyone's going to have a chance to speak, but there's at least 80 folks out there waiting to speak with stickers just like these. So please vote no.
Thank you.
48.
That'll be the last one.
This will be the last one.
Hello, Commissioners. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. My name is Joe Harrington. I'm from Lawrence, Kansas. My zip code is 66047. And I just wanted to urge you not to be intimidated or bullied by the Trump administration and the corporations that they serve. And please vote no.
Thank you, sir. All right. 7:12. That's been 1 hour, so that completes our public comment. I would like to take about a 5-minute break and come back.
You know, sir, the time we will return, please.
We'll be back at 7:17. Thank you. Can't add anymore.
Lo que ustedes están viendo es la sesión del Consejo Municipal de Leavenworth. Han tomado un receso en este momento para entonces terminar con la decisión que podría impactar, como decía una de estas personas, a todo el Midwest. ¿Por qué? Son 1,100 camas las que Leavenworth tendría en este centro de detención para migrantes. Información que está pasando en directo. Las personas que ven al frente, y me gustaría irles describiendo un poco. Estas personas que ustedes ven vestidas formalmente y que están al frente son los representantes de CoreCivic que han asistido a esta reunión. ¿Cuál es la dinámica? La gran mayoría de personas que se ha parado en el podio ha asegurado decir estar en contra de la presencia de CoreCivic en Leavenworth. Algunas han viajado de zonas cercanas a la ciudad, teniendo las implicaciones que tiene este centro de detención para migrantes que pues podría estar en un plazo de 60 días, si el día de hoy esta votación pasa a ser definitiva. En algunas de las implicaciones, la CoreCivic, la empresa privada encargada de estos centros de detenciones a nivel nacional, pues estaría también demandando a la ciudad por no darle este permiso. La ciudad, allí los concejales deliberando y tomando su decisión definitiva, y algunos de ustedes los ven entregándole algún tipo de notificación. Probablemente sean notificaciones de personas que llevaban por escrito para expresar su opinión en contra o a favor de este centro de detención que estaría, les repito, en la zona metropolitana. Esto es una noticia en desarrollo, son las 7:16 de la tarde noche ya en el centro de los Estados Unidos, y habrá que esperar entonces qué es lo que sucede. ¿Quién estaría al mando de este centro de detención? ¿Quién sería la persona operativa? Bueno, en esta imagen y según lo que hemos visto en las reuniones anteriores, una de las personas claves que ahorita no se ve porque está siendo tapada es una mujer. Una mujer sería quien estaría al mando de este centro de detención en la zona metropolitana. Ellos aseguraban incluso que el tiempo promedio que pasa un recluso es más de 50 días en estos centros de detenciones, y que ellos están creando planes de emergencia, que tienen planes incluso para lo que tiene que ver si tienen que tener sobrepoblación, que trabajarían muy de cerca por la ciudad. La ciudad, por su parte, expresando pues preguntas por parte de los concejales. Esto está pasando en directo. La invitación es a que usted por favor comparta la información. Hemos hecho un video corto que también lo pueden buscar para que lo puedan compartir con otras personas y que estén informados. De abrirse este centro de detención el día de hoy, 60 días para su operatividad, y esta operatividad pondría pues a todos los estados del Midwest, sobre todo a los migrantes, en una situación compleja. Allí ahora sí la pueden ver, esta mujer que está vestida de negro. Ella sería la encargada de las operaciones de este centro de detención. Incluso han estado allí presentes algunas de las personas que son de la directiva de esta organización, que no viven en la zona de Kansas City, que están en otros lados. También se habla de una persona arrestada. En los comentarios públicos se escuchó una persona que dijo: mi compañero no va a poder hablar, ha sido arrestado en una protesta que se lleva a cabo a las afueras de esta parte del recinto. El recinto pues en el cual de alguna manera se está llevando a cabo esta reunión tan intensa y de tanta importancia, tanto para la ciudad de Leavenworth como para las personas que viven en la zona metropolitana de Kansas City, los migrantes que están en la zona metropolitana de Kansas City. Pero repetimos, no solamente en la zona metropolitana de Kansas City, estamos hablando de todos los estados aledaños, porque cuando están en estos centros de detención, pues bueno, la capacidad de ICE para poder hacer detenciones aumenta, y por ello todo lo que es su centro alrededor. ¿Qué estados podríamos estar hablando? Kansas, por supuesto, Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, entre el radar.
17, we're gavel back in.
Vamos a ir
We can please have quiet in the chambers.
Bang it again. There you go.
I'm going to ask the commissioners if they have something to say before we move on to this.
Sure.
Okay. All right. We'll go around if anybody has anything they wanted to say.
I'm good.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everybody. I want to provide some thoughts and on an explanation for my vote tonight.
We
First,
haven't voted yet, so.
yeah, I know, like my impending. Just some thoughts and explanations. Is that okay? Or is this not the right time?
Yeah, as long as you, well, whatever.
Okay. First, I want to say we would not have made it this far with the SUP in front of us that we do have without the due diligence and courage of Mayor Bowder, Commissioner Pittman, and the 3 commissioners who are no longer in office. Last year, they voted unanimously to insist that CoreCivic follow our normal SUP process. It had a monetary cost, as we know, but the Kansas Court of Appeals agreed with our assessment that in no small part based on CoreCivic's past performance and relationship with our city, CoreCivic being allowed to operate without an SUP had the potential to cause harm to the city of Leavenworth. And the second thing I want to say is that for a variety of reasons, 2 weeks ago on February 4th, during first consideration, I did not properly articulate my position. My hesitancy was partially because with the knowledge I gained throughout that meeting, I realized that the amendments I would have to propose in order to feel comfortable voting yes on the motion would not be feasible additions to the permit in front of the commission that evening. Instead, I would have supported a motion to remand the issue back to the Planning Commission with a list of concerns for their consideration, and that was briefly brought up, but it didn't gain traction. And the final thing I want to address is just a few of the concerns I would have remanded to the Planning Commission and the concerns I still have. The length of the SUP, 3 years is a long time. I would have wanted to explore a 2-year option. Future litigation issues, it seems reasonable to believe that if we did find reasons someday to rescind the SUP, that we might have to go back to court. And there were a couple suggestions regarding additions to the permit to protect the city, and I would have liked to explore those further. And finally, I'm concerned about the event of default clause, which currently states that the violation or breach of agreement that continues for a period of 30 days after written notice will constitute an event of default, authorizing the city at that point to take action to terminate the permit. There have been valid concerns regarding potential violations that occur intermittently, but not necessarily for 30 days continuously. So I would have wanted the Planning Commission to explore that issue and some of the other various scenarios. As well as religious access, whether groups like the Sister of Charity would be allowed to do that, or if it was just CoreCivic groups. The last thing I'll say is that I had a positive conversation with CoreCivic staff members last week. They were transparent. They didn't balk when I asked difficult questions. When I was a candidate, the warden allowed me to tour the facility, which she did not have to do. But due to some of the issues at their current facilities, as well as the lack of cooperation with the city in 2025, most of their promises regarding transparency and continued cooperation require a high level of trust. And with the knowledge I have right now, I just do not have sufficient faith that their operation would meet all of the golden factors and development regulations. And I hope to be wrong. And I think that's possible based on my last positive conversations with staff. And then if the SUP passes tonight, then we just need to unify our community, work with what we have, and continue our due diligence to ensure our collective safety, health, and welfare. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Any comments? Do you have any comments, sir?
I will say this has been an agonizing process. It's not easy. I've been accused of many things. Been a public servant for quite some time, whether it's in law enforcement, National Guard, or serving now. So I have sought out people in support. I've sought out people against this, and I've talked to as many people as I could. I've answered my phone every time it's rang, and I've answered every email that I'm possibly able to answer. There are a number of things when you look at the holistic situation that we must consider. And everybody wants to make this a morality over fiduciary responsibility, but I think there is a real risk to the future of the city based on how the vote turns out that has to be considered. That could have long-term ramifications for our children, for our tax base, for our law enforcement and our firefighters, and the services that we can provide. So I would encourage my fellow commissioners to consider all of these factors as you make your decision tonight.
Tonight is not going to be an easy vote for me. For over a year now, I probably just right about a year, I've asked hard questions. I've pushed back. I've demanded accountability. I've taken criticism and yes, political hits for doing what I believe was my responsibility as a commissioner to protect this city. So let me be very clear. CoreCivic does not come to this conversation with a clean or neutral reputation. Nationally, there are strong opinions. Locally, there are deep concerns. And when you combine an already controversial reputation with the heightened emotions and uncertainty surrounding ICE operations in this country, it creates a real fear in our community like Leavenworth. And I hear that fear, and I understand why people are worried, and I would not be doing my job if I ignored that. Over the past year, this process has been contentious, it has been political, and it has been very, very personal. And I want to say something very plainly tonight. My vote does not mean that the conduct we saw over the past years from CoreCivic, including the high-dollar smear campaign target me personally, was acceptable. Being a good partner does not mean flooding the community with attack ads, and being a good partner does not mean intimidating local leadership like myself and my Mayor Bowder here. Being a good partner does not mean dividing neighbors against one another, and exactly what that did. If this company wants to operate in Leavenworth, it operates under Leavenworth's name, and that carries weight. It carries our history, it carries our military service, it carries our community pride, and it carries expectations. Through this process, the city has secured stronger oversight, clearer guardrails, and a significant financial concession that protects our taxpayers moving forward. These protections matter. They were not automatic. They were negotiated because your city of Leavenworth stood firm. Tonight's vote is about a special use permit. It is not a vote on federal immigration policy. It is not a vote on national politics. It is not a vote on whether you or I like or dislike CoreCivic. It is a land use decision governed by law and by the constraints of our municipal authority. After reviewing all the legal framework, the zoning standards, and the court rulings, I believe denying this permit would expose our taxpayers to a significant financial risk, and I will not gamble the financial stability of this city. Let me be clear, approval does not mean endorsement, and approval does not mean trust that have automatically been earned with CoreCivic. If this facility operates here, I expect it to operate not only from the standards of American Correctional Association, but above them. I expect transparency, I expect accountability, and I expect the people housed there and for the community around it to be respected. And I expect a reset in how this company engages with this city because your partnership is going to be earned. Leadership is not choosing an easy path, and leadership is choosing the path that protects us long-term stability of our community because that's what I was elected to do. I love this city more than I dislike any corporation. I love it too much to gamble its financial future, and I love it too much to allow its name to be tarnished by anyone. My vote tonight will reflect both those truths. So we will move forward with our eyes open. We will hold CoreCivic accountable, and I will continue to do what I was elected to do, and that is protect and strengthen Leavenworth.
Thank you. That's great.
This oversight committee is a joke, and you all know it. They won't answer to you. They won't let you visit. It will be your fault when people die at this facility. No, I'm speaking.
No, you're not.
The time?
It's time to leave.
It's right now.
It's time for you to leave.
Detention without due process is a concentration camp. Hey, take a look.
That is not called for. You don't have to manhandle him like that. Come on.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank the citizens of Leavenworth, Leavenworth County, and the surrounding areas for your opinions over the past year. I would also like to thank the Planning Commission who dug into the details of this special use permit. They carried out their duties in a thorough manner, defending our local laws and our right to govern. Our oversight committee, the Leavenworth, what we are thinking of calling it the Leavenworth Detention Monitoring Board, will be made up of community people, community leaders, And I'm thankful tonight, and Sisters of Charity and religious representatives. I'm thankful tonight too for the Sisters of Charity who are in a prayer for all of us, the people here who are here, and for us commissioners and staff. We didn't have a permit process when CoreCivic was here before. We do now. And if they don't follow the guidelines of the permit, which our city manager, Scott Peterson, will be reading here in a minute, if they don't follow those guidelines, we can pull the permit. So that's what I have to say. And everybody else, Commissioner Maxwell, did you have anything more?
No.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask our city manager, Scott Peterson, to read the conditions, please.
So to clarify, these are the conditions that were recommended.
CoreCivic will kill Leavenworth. Guys, please. You need to look at your city regulations.
Do we need to clear the room? Do we need to clear the room?
CoreCivic is gonna fucking kill your city. Fuck CoreCivic and fuck ICE. Fuck ICE. Oh.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more outburst. I'll empty the entire room, okay? We're having this meeting, and that's it. Everybody will go if we have that again. Understand that?
So to clarify, these are the 17 recommendations that you in first consensus proceeded with, second consensus or second consideration, excuse me. So first of these 17 are CoreCivic shall operate the property and the facility in accordance with the special use permit, the city's development regulations, and all applicable federal, state, and local laws, collectively laws related to the property and the facility. CoreCivic shall obtain and maintain all proper licenses required for operation of the facility. Second, promptly following the effective date of the special use permit, CoreCivic will diligently pursue accreditation of the facility from the American Correction Association Commission on accreditation for corrections. CoreCivic shall achieve such accreditation within 18 months of the effective date of the special use permit and provide the city with a copy of the certificate of accreditation documenting the same. Third, CoreCivic shall operate the property and the facility in accordance with the national detention standards promulgated by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Immigration, and Customs Enforcement, revised 2025, or such standards as may be required by any current or subsequent detention agreement. And two, in accordance with the expected practices set forth in the performance-based standards and expected practices for adult local detention facilities, 5th edition, May 2023, published by the American Correctional Association as the same may be amended. Fourth, CoreCivic will provide the city, its agents, and employees access to the property and the facility within 2 business days upon reasonable prior written notice to monitor compliance with the conditions of the special use permit and the performance agreement defined below, and to perform inspections as required to maintain proper licenses required for operation of the facility. The city, its agents, and employees will be permitted to reasonably document such access and inspections, provided that subject to city rights or obligations under applicable laws, the city shall reasonably comply with such measures and protocols for the protection of detainee privacy and facility security as may reasonably be required by CoreCivic and or those entities with whom CoreCivic contracts to provide detention services, each a detention authority. And further provided that CoreCivic shall provide the city with written copies of such requirements, measures, and protocols for access and inspection currently in effect at the time of such request for access and inspection. Fifth, only adults aged 18 and older may be detained in the facility. Sixth, within 5 business days after written city request, CoreCivic will provide a roster to the city of all detainees at the facility. City agrees that, to the extent permitted by law, such records may be held by the city as correctional records subject to KSA 45-221A29 of the Kansas Open Records Act as amended. Notwithstanding the foregoing, city acknowledges and agrees that roster release may be subject to prior consent of any applicable detention authority, and the period for CoreCivic's performance under this condition shall be extended for such longer time as is reasonably necessary to obtain such detention authority's consent, provided that CoreCivic has requested such consent and provided the city with a written copy of such request within the above stated 5 business days. Seventh, the special use permit will be issued for an initial term of 3 years, commencing as of the effective date of the special use permit, and subject to the development regulations and any legislative or quasi-judicial determinations within the purview of the city and or its governing body, shall be subject to continuation for additional terms of 5 years. Nothing herein shall preclude the city from exercising its rights or remedies under the development regulations regarding review, payment of annual special use permit fees under section 2.04.c of the development regulations, such fee currently estimated at $25 per annum, discontinuance, violation, revocation, or rescission of the special use permit or the use of the property or the facility, including but not limited to those under section 2.04.c and section 2.04.d of the development regulations. As provided in, or eighth, as provided in CoreCivic's letter of intent to the city dated December 4th, 2025, and submitted with the special use permit application, the letter of intent, and unless otherwise ordered by a court of competent jurisdiction, or unless the detainee resided in the city of Leavenworth at the time such detainee was detained, no detainees will be released directly into the city of Leavenworth. Except as set forth herein, all detainees processed through the facility will be transported or have their transportation arranged by CoreCivic, whether through a detention authority or otherwise, to Kansas City International Airport, MCI, Kansas City Union Station, or to the nearest office of the detention authority not located in the city of Leavenworth, Kansas. Ninth, at any one time, the facility shall not be used to detain or house more than 1,104 inmates or detainees, its rated capacity. Notwithstanding the foregoing, to accommodate a request for surge capacity, CoreCivic may detain or house inmates or detainees in excess of such capacity only upon prior written approval by the City of Leavenworth Fire Chief. 10th, CoreCivic shall have a staffing pattern to effectively staff the facility in a safe and secure manner. The number, type, and distribution of staff as described in the staffing pattern shall be maintained throughout the term of the special use permit. Subject to the remaining provisions of this condition number 10, CoreCivic will staff the facility, whether through employed staff, contracted staff, or otherwise, at a ratio of not less than 0.29 full-time employees or staff FTEs per 1.0 inmates or detainees. By way of example only, assuming a full rated capacity of 1,104 inmates or detainees, and as provided in the letter of intent, CoreCivic will staff the facility with no fewer than 300 FTEs. The number of FTEs may be proportionally lower than this requirement when the facility is not fully occupied. Staffing levels shall not fall below a monthly average of 80% of the requirements set forth in this condition number 10. However, the use of overtime and temporary staff may be used to fill vacant positions. CoreCivic shall maintain a competitive salary schedule for all personnel comparable to the applicable U.S. Department of Labor area-wide wage determination. CoreCivic will promptly provide information that the city may reasonably request to confirm compliance with this requirement, with names of employees partially redacted and social security numbers fully redacted. 11, CoreCivic will have installed, prior to the holding of any detainees, a new grinder pump pursuant to specifications approved by the city's Director of Public Works. CoreCivic will install and maintain at CoreCivic's cost equipment, personnel, materials, and supplies consistent with commercial industry standards to reasonably prevent negative impacts to the city's sanitary sewer and storm sewer facilities. CoreCivic will provide the city with prompt notice if CoreCivic has reason to believe that foreign objects, chemicals, or other materials have been disposed into city sanitary sewer or storm sewer facilities inappropriately. And again, I would note that that condition has already been met to the satisfaction of the Public Works Director. 12th, within 3 months after the effective date of the special use permit, CoreCivic will install or reinstall a tree line buffer on the property between the facility and those properties located directly to the south of the facility, with such plantings and caliper of trees as the city may reasonably require. 13th, within 2 weeks after the effective date of the special use permit, CoreCivic shall provide the city with any current contracts or agreements which CoreCivic has with any detention authority for detention services related to the property or the facility, each detention agreement. Thereafter, CoreCivic shall promptly provide the city with copies of any amendments to any detention agreement. The provision by CoreCivic of any detention agreement shall be subject to only such redactions as may be permitted by applicable open records or freedom of information laws. CoreCivic shall promptly inform the city of any actions relating to any detention agreement that might impact CoreCivic's authority to operate the facility under the special use permit. The city shall treat all detention agreements as confidential and shall not share or otherwise distribute any detention agreements without the express written consent of CoreCivic and, if required, the relevant detention authority, unless release or disclosure is otherwise required by law, including pursuant to an open records or freedom of information request as reasonably determined by the city. 14th, the special use permit is subject to the terms and conditions of that certain performance agreement attached hereto as attachment 1 and incorporated herein by this reference. The effectiveness of the special use permit shall be contingent and dependent upon the execution by CoreCivic of the performance agreement. 15th, nothing in the special use permit or the performance agreement shall preclude the city from exercising its rights or remedies under the development regulations or applicable laws regarding discontinuance, violation, revocation, or rescission of the special use permit or the use of the property or the facility, including but not limited to those under section 2.04.c and section 2.04.d of the development regulations, subject to such rights as to notices and or hearings as to which CoreCivic may be entitled thereunder. Nothing in the special use permit or the performance agreement shall be deemed a waiver by the city or the Leavenworth Police Department of their ability to obtain and act on a search warrant or administrative search warrant for the purposes of ensuring compliance with the city's development regulations or of the ability of the city or the LPD to act in accordance with applicable laws in furtherance of any such search warrants. 16, if any part, term, provision, or condition of this special use permit or the performance agreement is held to be illegal, in conflict with any law, or otherwise invalid, the remaining portion or portions shall be considered severable and not be affected by such determination, and the rights and obligations of the parties shall be construed and enforced as if the special use permit and or performance agreement did not contain the particular part, term, or provisions held to be illegal or invalid. Those are the 16 conditions that were recommended by the Planning Commission. The additional recommendation that you all pass forward to second consideration would be number 17. CoreCivic will cooperate with the city to establish a community relations board in which CoreCivic will be a participating member. Further, the city of Leavenworth will appoint its own members, and CoreCivic will appoint its own members to said board. And as Mayor Bowder mentioned, that board is to be named at a future date. One thing just to note for anyone who had the public packet that was released, there was a slight typo in section 5 of the proposed ordinance. You guys have the new ordinance in front of you. In section 5, it originally read section 5 that subject to section 3.13 above condition number 13, this ordinance shall take effect. It should read then the updated one in front of you reads that subject to section 3.14 above condition number 14, this ordinance shall take effect.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda then is the second consideration ordinance. Commissioner Wilson, can you read the ordinance, please?
I'll make a motion based upon having considered the staff findings as stated in its reports to the Planning Commission and the City Commission, public comment received, the recommendation of the Planning Commission and such other findings as made by the City Commission or its members as reflected in the record. I move that the Leavenworth City Commission approve ordinance number 8277, overriding by modifying the Planning Commission's recommendation of approval of the application for the special use permit number 2026-02-SUP and approving the special use permit with those modified conditions numbers 1 through 17 as provided in such ordinance.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I will call the roll call vote. Okay. Commissioner Maxwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Hollister,
No.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Pittman,
Aye.
and I vote aye. It's passed 4-1. With no other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Please begin voting. Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
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 We're adjourned.
We look forward to voting you out. If you're clear, goodbye.
Está ocurriendo en la sala. Quiero, Claudia, vamos a bajar un poquito, porque en este momento lo que está ocurriendo es que, bueno, han votado a favor. El centro de detención de inmigrantes va a hacer en la ciudad de Leavenworth, Kansas. Ustedes están viendo en directo lo que está pasando. La policía de la ciudad, allí la tienen, que estaría de alguna manera esperando salir, y pareciera que en la forma en que están puestos estarían custodiando a los representantes de entonces, para que estos funcionarios puedan salir. El centro de detención de migrantes va a ser abierto. Es importante que tengan esta información. Será abierto con los permisos. Estaríamos hablando de en unos 60 días, cuántas camas, más de 1,100, 51 personas, más de 51 días es el tiempo promedio, y allí salen, como lo pueden ver, comienzan a moverse. Vemos que la policía está haciendo lo propio. Vamos a ver si la policía va a escoltar al personal de CoreCivic que está allí saliendo. Esas son las personas que ven saliendo, es todo el personal de CoreCivic. Sí, pareciera que al menos un funcionario pareciera que los está acompañando. La votación ha sido 4-1 y, pues bueno, comienza una nueva etapa dentro de la ciudad y lo que va a ser este proceso. Les invitamos a que compartan la información. Repetimos, el centro de detención de migrantes en la zona metropolitana de Kansas City será abierto con una votación de 4-2. Ha sido la decisión de los comisionados del Consejo Municipal de Leavenworth. 60 días, dicen ellos, para tenerlo activado. Ya lo habían dicho previamente, va con un montón de condiciones. La ciudad vota a favor y algunos, dentro incluso los discursos dados por los comisionados, aseguran que no es que le están dando un voto a favor, sino que no quieren repercusiones económicas para la ciudad. Comenzaría una batalla legal. Yo soy Majo, como siempre, nos vamos. Les agradecemos muchísimo por estar con nosotros. Si aún no nos siguen, hágalo. La invitación a que compartan esta transmisión, que escriban WhatsApp en los comentarios para que se sumen, porque por ahí van a estar informados y quizás podamos incluso tener una conversación más larga. Nos vamos con nuestros anunciantes.
Este espacio es gracias a
La Mesa, sabor bien nuestro.
CM Gift and Petty,
The Hein Law Firm,
Huertas Cleaning Service,
US Bank. Descubre el corazón de América Latina en cada plato de la mesa, con sabores auténticos y reconfortantes, platillos que te harán sentir en casa, con la auténtica sazón latina que destaca nuestra diversa cultura. Sabores de nuestras tierras en cada bocado. Ven a la mesa y deleítate con nuestro sabor único. Reserva tu mesa ahora y prepárate para una aventura culinaria inolvidable. La Mesa, sabor bien nuestro.